Mari, the heroine of today's series, and it appears how happy she is and her life is rosy, but what happened in her past and will still happen will make you change your mind about her completely, and everything that will happen to her from here on was never on her mind. The first chapter of our story begins with Mari and her new apartment that she managed to buy finally after 15 years of rent, and that was in many other apartments, and she is very happy and everything is fine until the doorbell rings. Her joy did not last as Mari looks at the screen and finds 4 disasters before her, so she looks at her husband very angrily, and we understand that her mother-in-law and her daughters came to celebrate their son for his new apartment. And as usual, they continue the whole time to suppress Mari and mock her, while she stands making lots of food for them and tries to clean the house, and all this is on her head alone, and her husband is very passive towards them. After Mari reaches her limit, she brings a fire extinguisher and empties it on the 4 stoves and satisfies her rage and mine and yours. All of us, but we do not have time to rejoice, and we learn that she was imagining, unfortunately. Her mother-in-law enters amidst these fantasies of hers and laughs like a madwoman and tells him, "Oh, your patience, my son." Mari does not know how to escape from them and decides to go to the supermarket with the excuse of buying fruit for her mother-in-law and her daughters, and we see in the place all of Mari's neighbors. Hanya appears, the owner of the other shop in the complex, while she makes customers doubt the validity of the food. But Gina catches her and lets her know that if anyone saw her, they could file a lawsuit against her, especially while she walks with her shop's bag. Suddenly, while they laugh, Tina, the delivery worker, receives a new order and comes out of the shop, so she collides with a crazy woman holding a rifle and pointing it at her face, and she keeps shooting everywhere and demands that all the men in the shop leave, and she does not hurt Hanya at all, nor anyone in the shop, but she orders them to gather in one place and makes the workers lock the doors from inside and keeps screaming and telling them, "Only one of you is a criminal, and if she confesses on herself, I will spare the rest." Mari deduces that it is a cheating story and keeps following the events, and Sherlock Holmes inside her wakes up. Her husband, who was hiding, appears and turns out to be the shop owner and tries to calm her and deludes the others that she is sick and deranged, so his wife gets angrier and is about to shoot him, but Choi quickly throws a powerful kick, knocking him down in his place instead of the bullet that would have expelled him forever, and the woman goes to Choi to kill her. But Mari saves her and tells her that she will help her discover who her husband is cheating on her with, but without hurting anyone. She agrees and tells them that she doubted him for a while and installed a tracking device in his car, and today she saw him leaving the hotel with the girl he cheats with and kept walking behind them until he entered the supermarket, but she did not manage to catch a glimpse of her. Mari understands that she is surely one of the workers here and reached the first clue, so the manager's wife demands that all female workers stand in a line before her and keeps interrogating them nervously, so the manager gets scared and stands before them and tries to calm her and convince her that she is imagining things, but she lets him know that the day he was with his son at the amusement park and left his son on the swing, his son saw him with another woman and ran looking for him. So he had an accident, and he knows neither how to be a husband nor a father, and all he cares about is money and the girl he cheats with. Suddenly, all the women in the supermarket stand with her and keep throwing vegetables at him, and Hanya keeps hitting him with onions while cursing him, but this does not please his wife, and she says that if he dies, he will die by her hand, and she sits shooting at him, so he retreats everywhere and is afraid. But a customer stands up to point at an employee and lets her know that she saw her today giving him something in his hand and speaking in his ear in a seductive voice. But the employee lets her know she was giving him a gift only because employee relations are about to drop. So, excuse me, this is not a type 1 could go crazy and love in secret. So her other colleague, who had her eyes on the same evaluations, stands up and fights with her, and they forget the main problem. So the manager's wife gets angry at them and tells them, "I will relieve you all of these evaluations," and points the rifle at them. At that time, Mari runs and lets her know that she discovered the traitor and points at a young girl about the age of the manager's children and tells them this is the criminal we are looking for. Mari justifies the reason that when his wife pointed the rifle at him, the other girls moved, but when the rifle came upon this girl, he stood up and panicked and kept distracting his wife. But of course the manager keeps denying this and gets more nervous, and the girl speaks with confidence and tells her that there is no evidence and that Mari wants to play the game of Detective Conan, and that is it. Mari smiles a malicious smile and takes her phones and sits searching on Instagram and brings out a photo of the girl with grape juice. With the same date, the manager posted a photo of himself and many others of the photos, besides a photo of the reflection of the manager's face in the spoon while laughing. So the manager says to himself, "I am done for." Before Mari finishes her words, they hear the sound of the police outside, and Choi's husband appears, and the manager's wife gets very nervous and decides to kill him as soon as the police save him. But all the women decide to stand by her and confirm his betrayal and prevent the police. So Choi runs to push a fridge, large with all strength, and everyone is very dazzled by her, and they convince her to put down the rifle and Mari will solve everything. Thing and Mari says that as long as she was in the supermarket, she noticed that they were sending each other messages and were always in the same place. To confirm this, she sent a message from his phone to the last person he spoke to, which which was a fake name, but the message reached her and it was an agreement between them to meet at the hotel. So Hanya stands up and tells her that she actually saw her husband's car there very often when she went to deliver orders there. When his wife confirms his betrayal, she decides to kill them both. But Choi stops her at the last moment and the police enter from the back door. She tells them that she has nothing left to live for because she will be a criminal anyway, so when she dies, it is better than her son being shamed by his mother. But Gun shoots and she loses her balance, so Choi manages to take the rifle from her and she collapses on the ground. Before the police take her away, Hanya goes to give her her phone and shows her a message from the bank with a very large sum. So she knows that she and Tina took the manager's phone and transferred all the money in his account to his wife's account and that he is now considered bankrupt. And they ask her to get out soon and be better. Mari lets her know that true revenge is in being better, not in staying focused on those who wronged you. Mari is surprised that her husband, his mother, his sisters, and her daughter Riri are all standing in front of the supermarket and are very afraid for her, and they go home happy that she is fine, but the nature in them cannot be stopped because they also continue to suppress her. But Jack embarrasses them with words and Mari rejoices very much. Suddenly other news plays on TV, and as soon as Mari sees it, she cannot catch her breath and runs to her room and opens an old photo album and sits looking at it, but decides to go down for a walk. At that time, she meets Choi and Hanya, who are staying up late in front of Hanya's shop and are very impressed by her intelligence and call her Miss Sherlock Holmes of Korea. So she lets them know that she really wanted to be a detective. Choi tells her, well, why don't we really make a small investigation team just for the residents of the area and we pass our time with it. So she rejoices very much and Hanya agrees with them strongly, but feels that they are missing someone important, someone who goes around everywhere and knows and hears. And this is at the same time that Tina, the delivery worker, arrives, having gone around the whole area, so they all look at her and laugh. We see Choi in the year 2005 standing in the middle of a raid squad giving them orders to start the break-in. And we learn that she was a successful policewoman who loved her job very much and also had an impressive record, but why she left. The police, we will know in a bit. Choi actually enters upon the gang alone, who think she is a cook in the restaurant and keep mocking her, so she tells them, well, what do you think if I make dough out of you? And she, before you know it, she beats them up left and while her colleagues are standing outside the door, and one of them tells the other, I requested one ambulance. In my opinion, request two more, right? Inside the room, it is a massacre, but no one gets beaten except the gang. However, the leader manages to escape, so Choi calls her colleagues to enter and arrest the members while she goes out running after the leader and tells him, Uncle, wait, Uncle, we haven't made the pie yet. Afterwards, she goes up to the roof, but the weather is dark and the leader comes from behind her, but before he hits her with the knife, her colleague Choi comes and shoots to be able to save her, but unfortunately the leader dies, and thus her colleague will be punished and imprisoned. At that time, Choi lets him know that her record is very honorable and that she spent a very long time in the police, and surely this will lighten the penalty to just being fired, so her colleague understands that she decided to take the blame herself, and indeed she takes the gun from his hands, so her fingerprints get on it, and she tells him, look, anyway, we love each other and are hiding it from everyone, and we must get married, so you work and I will take care of the house. We learn that this colleague is her husband Jack, whom she decided to sacrifice a job that she loves for. We return to the present and see Choi, Hanya, and Mari standing together laughing, and Tina comes with fresh news and lets them know that there is a guy living with them in the building who looks like a thug and always parks his car anywhere and just caused a very big problem last week and blocked the whole building from going to their errands. When Choi and Mari return, they notice that her car has a lot of gum on it, so she sits getting angry and shouting. At that time, a fat man comes with a woman looking like Barbie to get in his car and tells Choi, surely there is a vendetta between you and someone. That is why he ruined your car. Take care, and leaves her and walks away. Choi gets angrier because she does not know this man, but Mari feels that something is wrong and goes to Hanya to ask her about this type of gum and describes that pot-bellied man exactly to her, so Hanya wonders how she knew that the pot-bellied man is the one who bought this gum. From here, Mari confirms that they have a new case they must solve. At night, this pot-bellied man comes to park his car but gets very annoyed because Mari's car is parked in the spot he likes, so he calls his gang, and at that time they block all roads in front of the car. The problem is that Mari was actually in the car looking for her husband's ID that he lost and did not notice what they did, and when she came to get out, she did not know how to escape in any way, so she calls her daughter and her husband, but no one answers her because when those two sleep, they do not wake up even for a drumbeat. She is forced to call Hanya and Choi to save her, and when they arrive, they take the pot-bellied man's number from the guard and decide to send him a video of Choi lifting the car as a kind of threat because they kept ringing him and he did not answer. And of course, as soon as the pot-bellied man sees the video, he goes down, running him and his gang, and they move their cars. So when Mari asked him to apologize, he told her he did nothing wrong to apologize, and she is the one who is wrong because she parked her car in his favorite spot. From here, the war began. Sometimes they make a used market in her car's spot, and sometimes he disables disables the whole garage while she is going back and forth between them like a bunch of kids in elementary school fighting over bike parking. In the end, Mari kept investigating him until she knew that he opened a big grill shop in their market, and they went to him. But this pot-bellied man, as soon as he saw them, got very angry at them and threatened them that he would call the police because someone stuck a small child sticker all over his car and it won't come off. At that time, they tell him, well, what do you think if we call the police ourselves? It turns out they had an agreement with his workers, and they filmed him because he does not pay their salaries and also gives them salaries less than what the government decided. And not only that, they filmed him fighting with one of the workers because he was going to throw away meat, like whose date expired a week ago. And he tells him, so what if it's a week? It's not a year or anything. Besides that, he takes food left over by customers and empties it onto a new plate and serves it again. Of course, this talk happens in front of customers, and Mari told him that if he had paid his workers their salaries, surely they would not have agreed against him. The pot-bellied man takes the final shock when the supply inspector enters and closes his shop due to the information leaked about him, so he decides to gather his gangs and go take revenge on them. But Mari is as usual a step ahead and waits as soon as he enters the garage, and they block the road on him just as he did to her. When he also refuses to admit his mistake, she leaves him and walks away, so he decides to call his gang. But as soon as they arrive, they find all entrances closed and start complaining about the pot-bellied man and realize he always disrupts their interests for his problems. So at that time, he calls Barbie, whom he discovers is with another gang leader. All your allies betrayed you, Richard. From here, his discipline begins, and he stays alone all night in the car. As soon as morning comes, Mari and her friends come to wake him up. So as soon as he sees them, he promises them that he will change and hold himself accountable because he learned that nothing good comes from thuggery nor from bad friends. We go back in time to the year 1995 and see a man sleeping in his supermarket, and suddenly a voice keeps screaming, fire, fire. So the man wakes up from his sleep terrified and keeps looking around, finding nothing. But an insurance employee holding a cake and singing happy birthday to him and telling him, imagine if a small candle like this fell in the middle of this shop, what it could turn it into. He gets up startled from his place and puts out the candle quickly and kicks her out of the shop and lets her know that he will not insure nor pay money for insurance, no matter what happens. We understand that she has been trying for a while to convince him to insure the shop against fire, but he is a very stingy man. However, while she is leaving the shop, she is surprised by the weather raining, and she had not accounted for it at all with an umbrella. Suddenly, the stingy shop owner throws her an umbrella to go home without asking her for money, and she learns that his name is Dan, and he started his life from scratch and used to work 24 hours to be able to make this shop. He goes to celebrate with his friends at night, but they keep mocking him and that he is stingy until he gets angry and comes to leave. His friend tells him, stay like this, you will never get married, and you won't even have one woman to love you. But the insurance employee appears and holds Dan and lets them know she is his lover, so they shut up and do not know how to embarrass him or speak because they actually do not have a lover know how to get married. We learn she was sitting at the table next to them, and when she heard them, she decided to defend him, and when they are left alone, Dan asks her not to leave him again for the rest of his life. We return to the present and see Hanya holding a photo with Dan and the employee, and she learns that she was working as an insurance employee, and with time they grew her husband's shop, but she still complains about his stinginess to her friends. After they finish their evening, Mari is going home with her daughter, and they are shocked by her colleague Jack sitting on the ground next to a man and trying to revive him. We learn he is their neighbor in the building and is Jack's father, but he went through a financial crisis and his wife left him, and now he spends all his time drinking until he faints. So Mari runs to him and they call the ambulance to come save him. The next day, Jack goes to school and appears to be very introverted and sad all the time, so the bully students come and keep bothering him in line and also while he eats. Riri goes to defend him, so they mock them both, and when he returns from school, he goes to Hanya asking her for cigarettes for his father, and he appears to be very nervous, but although Hanya loves him and considers him like her son, she refuses to give him any because selling cigarettes to students underage is prohibited, and his father must be the one to come buy them. When she gets busy with other customers, he steals a pack and runs away and remembers the bully's threat to him. When he reaches the garden, they keep smoking and put the leftovers in his hand, so Jack sees them and runs to yell at them because smoking is prohibited for underage, and Jack seizes the opportunity to escape. Jack keeps warning them that he is an athlete and a big trainer in the gym, but it turns out his time is already over, and Choi sees Riri while she is returning from school and trying to defend him, but the youths beat her and her father. However, when Choi sees them, she grabs the kids, grinds them, and teaches them manners. When Riri returns home, she lets her father and mother know that Jack is being subjected to bad bullying from students, and they must save him. So Mari decides the next day to gather her team and tell them about Jack's problem to solve it. Hanya understands why Jack stole the cigarettes and tells Mari that she was very upset with him, but now she could understand all his actions and that they must help him. At this time, Bin remains at school and is in the same class with Riri and the bullies, and it It seems they asked him to do something new, but while he is executing it, they tell the teacher, and she takes him to the teacher's room. And they all keep scolding him, talking about his mother and father in a not good way. So Bin leaves the school devastated, but finds the bullies still standing, waiting for him, and they keep bullying him and take him with them against his will. But Mari and the group of mothers keep walking behind him and filming everything to find evidence to present to the school administration and save Bin. When they reach the place where the students are, they find them treating him badly and torturing him. So Choi loses her temper and is about to break the door on them, but the three catch her and try to calm her down until they get more evidence. They are surprised by Bin coming down, and from how shocked he is, he does not sense them and is as if he is not conscious at all. So Mari deduces that he will commit suicide, and she catches him quickly from in front of the car at the last moment, but Bin keeps shouting at them and asks them not to interfere because how often he complained and no one saved him or helped him. While he is on his way home, he gets a call from them letting him know his girlfriend is with them, so he knows she is Riri and runs quickly to save her before they hurt her. When he arrives, they keep beating them, but Choi comes and smashes them. Even when their thug friends arrive, they get their share of the smashing, and each one of the mothers keeps hitting with whatever comes into her hands until the thugs escape and the bullies remain. Gun and Jack arrive, and Gun threatens them that next time he will present everything to the reformatory, and this is not in their favor at all because he is a policeman and knows what he is doing well. So they all tell Bin that they have 4 mothers and that he is not alone. The next day they go to school and present the evidence against the bullies, and a tough measure is taken against them. With time they continue to help his father get better and find a new job, and Bin is able, thanks to them, to live his life in safety. And thus the investigation team has solved a new case. We return to Mari while she is in her home, proud of herself greatly and that she is Detective Conan. But because Mari's life is titled Joy Unfinished, she finds her mother-in-law ringing her and letting her know that she heard from her friend that the apartment Mari lives in now she bought at a cheap price because there was a woman who committed suicide from the balcony a few months ago. Of course, so Mari does not look clueless in front of her mother-in-law. She pretends that she knows. When she hangs up, she thinks about the reaction of her friend and the building residents when they knew she lives in this apartment, and no one told her the truth. So she goes down to Choi, Hanya, and keeps yelling at them because they did not tell her the truth. But Hanya tells her, look at the positive side. At least you managed to buy an apartment at a cheap price, and now you have an owned house instead of being dragged in rental apartments. The next day, the head of the owners association comes down, but at that time she is shocked by Mari, a very big shock, when she finds her holding a black bag instead of the bag in which they are supposed to recycle. And she keeps whistling and whistling until she gathers all the area's residents around her, and they keep saying hurtful words to her. And Mari tries to justify that it is not hers and that when she saw it, she held it to know its owner. But still no one listens to her, and they embarrass her in front of her daughter. And the head threatens her that if she does not fix her mistake, she will expose her on the radio, and it will be a resounding scandal. So Mari decides to find the bag's owner and teach her a lesson and restore her dignity to herself. She empties everything on the ground, and at that time finds a chocolate box and a perfume bottle, and remembers when she met the woman whose son was pot-bellied and kept eating chocolate and throwing so everything on the ground, while his mother did not tell him it's shameful. So Mari says to herself, well, since this is the son's behavior, naturally this is the mother's behavior too. Searches more and finds a receipt with her address and name. So she photographs everything and goes to the head with the evidence and embarrasses her and makes her apologize to her. We learn that there is a problem with the cleaning company and that they do not want to receive any waste from the complex at all because of people who do not sort their garbage and use environmentally harmful bags. So the complex manager comes and threatens the guard that if he does not solve this problem, he will fire him, even though it is not his specialty at all. When the association head comes, he blames her that she is negligent too. So she remembers what Mari did with the garbage bag and calls her. Mari starts solving her new case to convince Hanya and Choi to help her sort the bags and identify the apartment's owners. So Choi tells her that the head's brother is a big official in the police, and surely when they solve this case, he will help her husband get promoted, and Hanya can bring environmentally suitable bags and all cleaning supplies, and thus enlarge the shop and have authority in the house economy. When Choi asks her, and what will you benefit, Mari shows hearts from her eyes and tells them all I care about is the community's cleanliness. But she knows that in reality, she asked her to take all the women of the association and join her husband in the gym. No one does anything for free ever, even Mari. From here, the investigation team starts their new case, and they discover the owner of every bag and go to scold her until they reach the last stage. And from here, seriousness really begins. Hanya is shocked that one of the bags has a handkerchief soaked in blood and a girl's hair, dyed and cut. So Mari feels that there's something strange, especially that the bag is all men's supplies. So what brought a girl's hair and blood into the bag? But the voice of a girl screaming interrupts her thoughts, telling them that a harasser tried to assault her. And as soon as Mari sees him, she throws the garbage bag at him and keeps running after him, but he manages manages to hide from her. The next day, she is running after her daughter to give her the school bag she forgot. I do not know how she is. Going to school without a bag, what is she going to do? When she turns around, she bumps into the harasser she was running after yesterday, and he is standing watering. The complex's garden, and it seems he is the new guard. So Mari gets shocked and takes him immediately to the guard's office and keeps telling them about her suspicions towards. But the manager comes and lets her know that he is the one who appointed him because he's a young man. We learn that the reason is 3 days ago when the manager was returning drunk and tripped while going home and got injured, but Hook was passing by purely by chance and saw him and helped him, and that's why he decided to appoint him as a guard. Of course, Mari gets angrier when she learns that this is the only reason they appointed him, and gets angrier when she learns he is the new tenant in the apartment above her, but the manager does not care about her words and encourages Hook and leaves. Hook lets her know that he will find the harasser himself, and at that time she is the one who will regret and apologize. So Mari leaves him and walks away while still suspicious of him, but she has another outing. She and Choi, and they go to the shop. They learn the last bag was from. The shop owner gets nervous and tells them he did that to annoy the building's residents because they always throw garbage at the shop. But Mari suspects him because she remembered seeing him before in his car near the complex, and suspects him more when he gets nervous as soon as she mentions the lock of hair they found, and also tells them it must belong to a girl in high school who dyed her hair. But of course, Mari did not tell him the hair was dyed, and she and Choi are forced to leave because there is no evidence they can prove against him, nor do they know what the problem is. At night, we see the shop manager arriving at his apartment, but before entering, his neighbor comes out and asks him if he is renovating his apartment because her mother heard a sound from the apartment at noon, so he gets very nervous, but tries to hold his nerves and learns that the complex is connected, so the sound might be coming from another place since he lives alone. As soon as he enters, he runs to a room locked with a padlock and keeps shouting until we see a girl with a swollen face from beating and her hair. Cut, and it looks like the same hair Mari and her friends found. The girl keeps crying and begging him to let her out to check on her sister and she will return again, but he assures her that her sister came to the shop and he gave her money to spend and everything is fine, so she keeps crying but still to no avail. I wonder who this girl is and what her story is. Mari will reveal everything to us the next day, and indeed, the next day Mari drops the bomb in front of Hanya and Choi and lets them know that after they left the shop, because Choi was in a hurry because her mother-in-law was arriving and she was afraid of her again, Mari went back alone at that time and was shocked when she saw a girl whose hair was the same color as the hair they found, and heard her and knew she was the girl's sister and was looking for her. And the shop owner told her that because she felt pressured, she decided to travel on a vacation. But the girl is not convinced at all and lets Mari know that she was going to apply to a beauty college after a few days, and she is the one who dyed her hair and her sister's hair with the colors she invented. Besides that, she is saving as much as she can for university expenses. How did she suddenly leave everything and go on a trip? Suddenly we find Tina, who is sleeping, wakes up and lets them know that she met the girl indeed, and it turns out she was working in the same shop and promised her to change her hair color for the university test. So doubt takes over Mari more, and Choi says, how does a shop owner not know that his employee cut her hair, and why did he lie when we asked about the hair? Mari suspects him more when she learns he is a resident of the complex, and Tina at first was delivering simple food to him, but now he orders food in large quantities and mostly food that girls love. Here the mouse plays with them all, and Mari decides to ask a favor from Hanya to gather more evidence. What is the request? We will know in a bit. Anyway, at the same time, we see a man wearing a cap and looking suspicious entering Mimi's apartment, who lives in the same building as Mari and is searching through it. Beware of prestigious residential compounds. At the same time, we see the shop manager beating the girl and tying her up and making her take pills against her will. But when the manager leaves, the girl wakes up, and we learn she did not swallow them. As soon as she wakes up, she is nervous and going crazy and does not know how to act, and there are food plates in front of her and a basket to return things in, and we learn this was Mari's request to Tina to bring the food in plates, and things that return to the restaurant again with the excuse that there are no plastic supplies in this restaurant, and thus they can find any evidence from the girl. Of course, Mari tells all this to Hanya and Choi when she finds a distress signal from the girl's hair on the pot lid and wants to find any evidence bigger so they can present it to the police. Choi rushes very much and wants to go storm the house because the policewoman atmosphere still controls her, but Mari and Hanya stop her with difficulty, and Mari lets her know she's a burnt card because the manager saw them both before, so they both look at Hanya, who is shocked and tells them, I am afraid to kill a chicken. You want to enter this madman's house with my own feet. Impossible. So Choi exploits that. She told her before that she wants to apply for the middle-aged beauty pageant in Korea, and that if she did a heroic act like this, it would give her precedence over the rest of the participants. They keep making the sea tahini for her until she relaxes and sits imagining herself in the dress and the prize and standing on the stage saying, I won alone as for my husband. The miser, he has no credit from She wakes up from this dream of hers and finds herself in front of the manager's door to execute the plan. These can convince fish to breathe out of water. A few minutes before the plan, the girl is trying to escape from the manager and hits him with something on his head, but unfortunately he catches her and drags her inside and prepares to assault her again by beating, but the bell rings. And we see at that time Hanya, who started executing the plan. Hanya lets him know that there is an order in his name from her shop, but he denies that he ordered anything. So when Hanya says the customer's name, which turns out to be his name, he gets very surprised and is forced to open the door, and we see his neck and head all blood. At that time, Hanya uses the excuse that the order spilled because it is a large pickle jar, and asks him if he has a gathering or what, and enters the apartment. So his manager gets nervous and asks her who ordered it anyway, so she lets him know it is her mother. He starts laughing hysterically and tells her, my mother who ran away from home 20 years ago is coming to send me pickles now, and he is about to take the scissors out of his pocket. Hanya takes out the paper, and it has another address written on it other than his apartment address. So the manager lets her know it is the building next to them and pulls her to get her out, but she pretends her stomach hurts and runs to the bathroom. At the same time, Mari calls the number on his car and pretends she and Choi are his neighbors, and his car had an accident, so he stands shocked, not knowing how to act as he keeps banging on the bathroom door. But Hanya has recorded strange sounds that make him disgusted, and he tells her, "Come out of the bathroom before I come kill you." Hanya tells him, "Do not worry, I am the owner of the shop in the area. If anything happens, my place is known." So he feels reassured and goes down, running, but is shocked because the elevator has a problem and is forced to run down. When he returns, he discovers he was tricked, but the time had passed because Mari, Hanya, and Choi had broken into the room the girl was locked in and managed to free her. When he reaches the apartment, he discovers that Hanya locked the door from inside, and he does not know how to enter and is shocked by Choi in front of him, and she beats him up as usual. When he hears the sound of the police and ambulance, he runs away, and she keeps chasing him. Her husband sees them, and they both manage to solve a new case together, but he keeps treating her harshly and blames her for leaving her daughter alone at home at a time like this. Mari is with Hanya helping the girl, and Mari decides to ride with her until she checks on her. At the same time, Mimi arrives at her apartment and is very devastated because she cannot find her dog, which is very precious to her, and she has no one else besides it. Amidst her breakdown, she is shocked that her photo is missing, and there is a man's shirt button fallen on the floor. Oh man. When Mari returns, she lets the others know that the manager always wanted to date the girl, but she did not know how to refuse him, especially since he was nice to her. But he turned out to be a narcissistic and crazy person, and when she refused him, he kidnapped her and decided to make her date him against her will. But Hanya is surprised that Tina, who led them to all this information, has been missing since morning, and no one can reach her, and tells them she heard that Tina works 25 hours and is supposed to be a billionaire because she does not spend a pound. At the same time, Tina is standing in front of an intensive care room like this and keeps crying and looks disheveled, but as soon as she sees the nurse, she jumps from her place and goes to sit next to a child, and it is clear his condition is very difficult, and she keeps kissing him and crying. The next day, Mari is on a surveillance patrol for her husband because she suspects he cheats on her with someone from the gym, but before she catches him, her phone rings and she runs out. We see her after a while going to a funeral, and she bumps into a colleague of hers from high school coming out of the funeral. We learn this funeral is for their high school teacher, and Mari learns that the teacher always asked about her and was very worried about her. Mari holds herself together, but before she enters, her colleague tells her that Gigi's mother died a few months ago, and of course she did not know, and tells her that as much as she is sad for her, she cannot forgive her. We go back in a flashback to Mari, looking at photos being with an old woman and another girl when she was still in high school. The next day, she is coming down from the head's apartment, and they were talking about how Choi's husband helped them solve the case and that he is a responsible man, even though in reality he was the one discouraging them and upsetting them badly. But we all know they are doing this, so the association head's brother gets Choi's husband promoted. While they are going down, they are shocked by the building guard fallen on the stairs, and under his head is blood. The ambulance comes to take him quickly, and they gather with all the Cox residents, and Mari says he was carrying a heavy chair, trying to bring it down the stairs because the elevator was broken. Everyone starts cursing and blaming the person who has no blood, who made an old man like this carry a chair down. We see the complex manager standing behind them, and his face is pale. A few hours later, the manager goes to the building guard in the hospital, and we understand that he went to him not because his heart is kind, no, because he turned out to be the chair's owner, and asked the guard to move it. And he threatens the guard not to speak and gives him money in exchange for his silence. When he leaves, the new guard enters, and it appears the guard is very upset, and we understand there was an old connection between them. But the guard asks him to forget everything and stop feeling grateful to him all the time because everything is already over, and he moved here because he wants to live quietly, and that is it. The next day, we see the news talking about a girl's corpse in an abandoned warehouse wrapped around her neck with a red satin ribbon, like a gift wrap like that. We learn there was a criminal for a long time known for committing this same type of crimes, but he has been missing for for a long time. But after the appearance of this corpse, worry started happening again in Korea, and fear this criminal might have appeared again, or someone is imitating him. We see Hook sitting following the news while he is very excited. At the same time, Mari is watching the news, and suddenly her breath goes away and she remembers the same girl who was with her in the photo dead in the hospital, and Mari devastated next to her. We return to the present and see Han, the son of the association, head, and his mother keeps yelling at him and letting him know that everything must end this year, and holds his face and tells him she does not want him to be great, she just wants him to be a normal person. Han appears to be a weak person and is always subjected to abuse from his mother and cannot make any decision in front of her, but I wonder, does she want him to be a normal person? All this will appear and we will know it. At night, Mari goes down to throw the garbage and gets angry when she sees a box thrown containing an unsuitable bag. When she opens the box, she finds it full of many clothes, looking like the ones at Hanya's shop, and they suspect they are the harasser's clothes. At the same time, she hears Choi screaming, so she runs quickly to see where. At that time, she sees a girl fallen on the ground, and she lets her know that the harasser was here just now and ran when she screamed. Choi runs after him but does not manage to catch him, but she also finds the same clothes Mari and Hanya found. Mari tries to convince the security manager to check the cameras, but they get shocked when they learn that the security system in the complex is very weak, as if they film with a landline phone and they cannot see anything at all except a woman throwing a box, but her features are not visible. The team gathers and they deduce that the harasser is one of the complex residents because he knows the girl's return times and where the places are where. The security system is weak in every detail about the complex. Mari says that the matter could with time turn into murder and violence and that they must move as soon as possible. Tina is very surprised why. The harasser is a man even though a woman threw the box, but the answer is very clear to Mari, whose face shows her usual equal look every time, and she tells them it is surely his mother or wife, and she did that to cover up for his crime. At night, we see Hanya standing with a little girl, and we learn she is new to the complex, she and her mother is always at work, and leaves her alone without food, so Hanya gives her chocolate and food without money and goes to take her to the apartment because the time was very late. So the girl thanks her and lets her know that her name means the Silver Star. When she enters, Hanya's features change, and she says they also had a star who was beautiful like that. Well, where is she and what happened to her? We will know later. At this time, Tina is delivering an order in the complex and passes in front of Mimi's house and is shocked that there are many posters and packages and wonders why. Mimi is traveling all this time. She keeps ringing the bell, but no one answers. Suddenly, her heart stops and she feels that someone is watching her, and she actually notices someone at the stairs, but he disappears suddenly and appears again photographing her. The next day, we see Mari at a psychiatrist after she finally decided to try to overcome her crisis and says she feels all the time that being still alive is a big sin, so he asks her since when she feels this feeling. Mari recalls her painful memories, and we see her sitting on the school bus and all her friends are talking badly about her and saying, "I wish she died," instead of Sarah. Mari wakes up from her memories and lets the doctor know that it started from the time of the incident, so he tells her she must find something to get her out of this situation and stop blaming herself. She lets him know she opened a small investigation agency like that with her friends, and that when she is with them, she is fine because she is among her sisters and does the things she loves. At night, the weather is raining and we see a woman going home, but suddenly the harasser appears to her. And as soon as she turns, we discover it is Hook wearing women's clothes, and we understand it is an ambush. Mari forced him to participate with them to catch the harasser and prove his innocence, and he wears clothes better than the cutest girl. We learn that the harasser does not appear except on rainy days or cloudy times because cameras do not work well then. They keep running after him, all of them, and photographing him until they discover he is the complex manager and his wig falls off, meaning not only a harasser but also bald. So Hanya goes to put the wig on him while he is crying, and Choi does not care and is still photographing him. When they go to the police station, they all keep piling on him while he says that they falsely accused him of being the harasser and keeps playing with the wig he is wearing and is still impersonating a woman. Choi keeps yelling at him and telling him, "Aren't you a shamed man taking the whole complex round and round? Have some shame, brother." His manager gets angry at him and lets them know it is a nervous condition he has when he gets sad or bored. He cannot control himself. We learn he is always subjected to violence from his wife because she is richer than him and always makes him feel he is nothing. That is why he always treats people arrogantly to compensate for his deficiency. He lets them know that this was only the third time he did it, and he does not do it except near building 1 and 2 and 3, and that he knows nothing about the rest of the buildings, and that he was just imitating the person he heard about. Pena gets angry at them and tells him he has a strawberry birthmark. We understand that those subjected to harassment testified that the harasser has a strawberry birthmark on his leg, and he is called the strawberry harasser. The manager gets angrier and tries to take off his clothes, and the police station turns into a joke. Choi's husband enters and yells at her saying, "Do you want to see the man harasser? That is why you do not want want to leave. The situation gets worse than it is, and the manager keeps screaming and they drag him to jail against his will. Mari feels something is wrong and suspects there are two harassers in the complex, and they all look at Hook, who is still wearing a short dress, and he also lifts his clothes, and the situation turns upside down. Again, they all manage to go out for the evening together, and Hook lets them know he is Kim, the guard student, when he was still in school, and thanks to him, he continued his life better and became a novel writer and returned to look for Mr. Kim to thank him and help in his work and check on his health. But Mari remains suspicious of him. Hook wonders and tells her she surely suffers from OCD, and this is surely because of a crisis she was subjected to in the past, but she must try to overcome this situation. Hanya tells her that she might have a chronic suspicion condition destroying her life. Mari loses her temper and lets them know that they do not know anything about her or old life, nor do they know how much she suffers to judge her. She leaves them and walks away, so Hanya and Choi go after her while he remains wondering what brought a harasser's clothes into the garbage, which we learn was a package for the manager, and he left it himself in front of his apartment, and one of the mailmen, while delivering the package to the manager, bumped into the package by mistake, so it got mixed up with his neighbor's orders, and when his neighbor opened the package, she thought it was her husband's, so she threw it in the garbage and turned it into a problem for him. The next day, Tina is delivering a new order to the apartment, next to Mimi's, but is shocked when she sees a strange man coming out of it, covering his face with a cap, so she runs after him quickly and tries to stop him and ask him when he is coming out of Mimi's apartment, but he does not stop and keeps evading her and lures her to a dark place. Suddenly, he opens a cutter and tries to hurt her, but Tina runs and tries to open the floor door to go down and is surprised by Hook in front of her and cries for help from him, but when they go to look for the suspicious man, he has disappeared. At the same time, Star is in Hanya's shop and tries to take food without anyone seeing her, but Tina's husband sees her and yells at her. Upon Hanya's entry, she yells at him and lets him know she is allowed to take anything she wants and carries Star and walks away, so her husband pities her very much. When Hanya and Star arrive at the building, Star asks her to put her down on the ground and returns the food and apologizes to her. At that time, Hanya reassures her and lets her know it is a gift from her, but after that, when she wants something, she must ask permission first. Star's mother arrives and heard this talk, so she sits beating her and yelling at her. At that time, Hanya loses her temper and tells her, instead of hitting your daughter, know your mistake first, you work all the time and leave your daughter alone at home hungry all the time. Star's mother throws money on the ground for her and pulls Star from her and keeps hitting her while Star screams. Hanya drifts into her memories and we see her hitting a small girl because she broke the plates and asks her to go out and play in the street and not come inside again. Hanya wakes up, not feeling herself, and snatches Star and carries her and keeps running with her and wakes up from her memories again. We learn that the girl whom Hanya yelled at was her daughter, and when she went out to the street, she had an accident and died. And since then, she cannot overcome this subject nor forgive herself. She keeps running with Star while drowning in her memories until her husband stands in front of her and wakes her up. Hanya finds Star crying hard, so she puts her down and apologizes to her and reassures her. But Star's mother comes and yells at Hanya hard and threatens her to call the police. But Hanya's husband communicates to her that Hanya cannot bear children screaming and loses feeling of herself and keeps apologizing to her. At that time, Hanya gets angry at him and at her and tells him, "Why are you apologizing to her? This is a woman practicing violence towards the girl and starving her and leaving her at home alone," but her husband calms her down. At that time, Star and her mother leave and Hanya's eyes remain on Star, who is crying, and she sees her waving to her with her hand. We learn she entered into an addiction phase, she and her husband, after her daughter's events, but they managed to overcome it together, and her husband keeps talking to her until she returns to laughing again. The next day, the world is upside down at the lake and the police are everywhere, and Choi's husband lifts a plastic bag to reveal a girl's corpse with a red ribbon wrapped around her neck like a gift wrap. It will wrap around everyone. At the same time, Choi, Hanya, and Mari discover a bag with a dead cat next to the building at the moment of Tina's arrival, who, as soon as she sees the cat, runs to look at it and sits crying. At that time, she removes the necklace around its neck and lets him know that the cat died a while ago. So Tina put this necklace around her daughter's neck to show she belongs to someone and not get hurt like her mother. Tina suspects something, so she decides to tell her friends that she suspects the one who kidnapped Mimi's dog might be the one who killed the cat and caused Mimi's disappearance, and that she saw someone before tearing down the flyers Mimi made about her dog, and that was when it got lost. Mari is shocked because it is the first time she knows Mimi disappeared and tells them that surely Strawberry is the real harasser they are looking for, and that he now left harassment crimes and started killing animals. An animal becoming human won't make a difference to him. She sits investigating Mimi's subject until she learns that one of the neighbors found the dog dead, and dead in the same way as the cat. But when the guards go, they do not find anything. The next day, Mari calls the one she met at the funeral and asks to know Sarah's mother's location. So she lets her know that as soon as the teacher's wife returns from travel, she will ask her about her location. At the same time, the report of the girl found at the lake comes out, and it turns out she is Mimi. So the residential complex is turned upside down, and Mari is standing stunned stunned. She and her friends in front of the building and looks lost, but she wakes up from her shock when one of the neighbors talks badly about Mimi and complains that apartment prices will drop because of this incident. So Mari yells at her because all she cares about is the apartment only and does not care that a human like them died. They keep fighting, and Mari does not feel herself at all, and her condition is a mess. Mari returns to her apartment, and regret eats her up because she did not manage to save Mimi, who died. In the same way her friend Sarah died. She remembers that the red ribbon that was around Sarah's neck was a ribbon they bought together to make a gift, and it had scissors with it, but the scissors were lost, and that is what Mari said in the police investigations. As for the present time, Tina is delivering a new order, and while she is returning, someone comes out of the apartment behind her and drugs her and takes her inside the apartment. At the same time, Mari gets the psychological symptoms that happen every time she remembers the event and feels there is a red ribbon wrapped around her body and choking her. She wakes up from her illusion to her phone ringing and letting her know she must go to the hospital immediately. When she arrives, we see her at the child Tina was at before, and we learn he is Tina's son, whom she had not told anyone about, and that he has a heart problem and his condition is very late and they need the mother's approval to enter surgery. The nurse lets Mari know it is the first time they cannot communicate with Tina because her number was always available 24 hours, so Mari starts the search journey for Tina and communicates with the workplace, and they let her know that the last order she had was in the complex. After that, her phone was off, so she reaches her residence place and learns she lives in the restaurant's warehouse to save money as much as possible. Mari tries to reach Hanya or Choi but cannot at all and goes back to call the workplace again and learns that her phone's last signal was in apartment 404. At the same time, Tina wakes up and finds herself in an empty apartment, and there is a painting of Mimi in it, so when she looks in front of her, at that time she is shocked by Han, the son of the district head, and tells him that she suspected him and that he was the one leaving Mimi's apartment that day. He lets her know he is the strawberry harasser and was always when he escaped and made them run and scream he would be happy. But when Mimi saw him, she did not scream and told him he surely never loved anyone, because if he loved someone, he would not act these despicable actions and put the one he loves in an embarrassing situation. Han lets Tina know that it is the first time he feels someone talking to him in this way, so she feels he is really afraid and fell in love with her. Tina breaks down and tells him, well, why did you kill her when you loved her, and sits begging him to let her out because she has a sick child, and promises him she will not tell the police, but he attacks her and says he does not kill humans quickly, he likes to enjoy first. He appears to have severe psychological disorders and is on the verge of madness if he wasn't already mad, actually. Tina seizes the opportunity that Han is close to her and hits him and takes the cutter and tries to free herself quickly, but Han runs to get the ribbon and Tina tries to resist and keeps screaming and telling him, I cannot die, I have a child needing me, but Han does not care and continues choking her and tells her coldly, would you accept Mimi being alone? You must. Go keep her company. At the same time, Han hears the sound of the bell and we see Mari in front of the apartment but is surprised that there is another guy leaving it, and Mari asks him if he ordered chicken today, but the man denies and tells her he is on a diet. Why would he order chicken? But Mari is not convinced at all and enters the apartment quickly and finds chicken inside indeed. The man thinks she is the chicken owner and the order came to him by mistake, and this makes Mari very nervous because why would someone order on a fake address? Suddenly, she says to herself, maybe to mislead us. While walking, she bumps into the cat's bracelet in front of the door of apartment 405 next to the apartment the order arrived, and Mari remembers that Tina was wearing this bracelet yesterday. The next day, as soon as morning comes, Mari and Choi and Tina start gathering information, and Mari goes around asking the building residents if anyone saw Tina or saw her bike, but no one saw anything because the time was late. But a child lets her know he saw the bike while entering the building, and it had a red helmet on it, and this is actually Tina's helmet, and tells her that Batman went down and rode the bike and left, meaning that a man wearing a Batman helmet is the one who took the bike. But before Mari knows any other information from the child, his mother comes and yells at Mari for interrogating a small child and shuts the door in her face. Thus, we knew what happened to the bike. At the same time, Hanya learned from the guard that the police came today to the association head and told her they found her son's number on Mimi's phone and calls between them. So the head gets very nervous and tells them that her phone was lost and she was calling Mimi from his phone because the rent was late, and gets more nervous when they ask about her son who has been missing for a while and his phone is off. She sits screaming at them and telling them, do you know who my brother is and whose daughter I am? We are from a police family. Gunn apologizes to her and takes his colleague and leaves. We go back in time a few days before discovering Mimi's corpse and see Han in his room finding all his drawings torn, and his mother enters with a very strange smile on her face as if she is mentally deranged, and gives her son a ticket and tells him you will travel to America to your aunt, and orders him to drink the medicine, but Han tears the ticket, so his mother walks towards the door and closes it and turns her face back with a scary look and throws what is in her hands on the floor. At that same moment, Han kneels to her and sits apologizing to his mother and tells her he will stop drawing, so she holds his head and tells him, I know you love Mimi, but do you know where Mimi is? Because they say she is missing. So Han denies knowing anything and promises her to go back to taking his medication again. So his mother reassures him that nothing will hurt him, and I wish he returns to his habits again and she will cover for him as always happened. Here we understand she is always refusing to renew the surveillance system and spending all the building budget on decorations and trees. Han wakes up from his memories to the sound of the bell and is sleeping next to Tina, thrown in the bathtub, and this time the bell ringing is his apartment bell, and he is shocked when he sees Mari from the door camera. At that time, Tina wakes up, whom we learn had fainted, and sits screaming, but Han runs and muffles her voice and lets her know he was always working on this apartment and made a strong isolation system in it, and she is done as soon as the candle goes out. She will die and join Mimi to keep each other company. At that same time, a phone call comes to Mari from Choi, letting Mari know that Han is not the accused because the police came here a while ago and arrested Hook on charges of killing Mimi and found many suspicious things in his apartment. Mari runs to catch Hook before the police leave and arrives at the last moment and lets him know that Tina is missing since yesterday, and I wish if he knows anything, tell her. He tells her instead of sitting doubting people, direct her intelligence correctly and save her friend. So Mari tells Choi he is not behind Tina's disappearance and they must really look for her. In the police station, after Hook's arrival, they start investigating him immediately, and this is because there was a recording of him while taking Mimi to her apartment. So he lets them know that on that day, Mimi was returning, very drunk because she could not find her dog, and as a guard, he helped her reach her apartment and asked her afterwards and left. They learn he is writing novel about the ribbon killing, so that is why he collects everything related to it and knows the details of all the cases, even the cases that started in 2003. So Gunn mocks him and asks him what proves it, so he lets him know that the novel is on his computer. We understand that the one who reported him is the committee head when she got a call from a strange number saying the killer is Hook, and the evidence is the video filmed of him dropping Mimi off. And of course, she does not hesitate and reports him immediately to deny charges from her son. Suddenly, Gunn runs out and meets Choi outside the station and asks her what happened to his daughter. Choi gets nervous and lets him know she made up a story that his daughter had an accident, so he would agree to come out and tells him about Tina and her son's situation and that they must act. He gets angry at her and asks her to stop playing the policewoman role, so she tells him, "You asked me before if I regretted giving up my position for you. Well, now I would like to tell you that I am regretful because all the time, due to your feeling of deficiency, you treat me badly and not nicely and belittle me, you and your mother, and that his mother went to her before the police trial and told her that if she wants to marry Gunn, she must pin the charge on herself. She sits screaming at him because he and his mother destroyed her dream, and that in the end, her sacrifice was not in its place at all, and she grabs him by his neck and chokes him." At the same time, Mari and Hanya have arrived at the bike's location, and someone had hidden it in an old warehouse belonging to the complex, and the guard found it, and thus they solved the puzzle. As for the puzzle of the apartment, we learn that Mimi's apartment and apartment 405 both turn out to be owned by the association head at that time. Mari decides to follow the association head because surely she will lead her to her son. Choi calls her and lets her know that she forced her husband under threat and beating to track Tina's phone, and it is indeed in apartment 405. At this time, Mari sees the association head throwing garbage in a building other than her building and looking around as if she killed someone, so Mari waits until she leaves and takes the bag. When she opens it, she finds the madman keeping many things of Mimi's, and with him papers where he wrote all the details of Tina's life and torn drawings as if he drew them of Mimi and Tina. She receives a phone call at this time from Hanya letting her know that the water and electricity meters are running in apartment 405, even though it is supposed to be an empty apartment. This happens upon the arrival of the association head, who goes crazy as soon as she sees Mari having something of her son's and tells her to stop playing the detective role and that her son is innocent. So Mari lets her know all the facts and that Tina is missing since yesterday, and if she does not open the door of apartment 405 right now, she will inform the police. At this moment, Han has decided to finish Tina off because the candle is about to finish and keeps choking her, but at the last moment, he stops because he hears a voice outside. Mari and the head have arrived at Hanya in front of apartment 405, but no key at all agrees to open, so they understand that Han changed the key. She runs looking for the new key, and Choi arrives and tells them there is no need for keys and breaks the lock with the extinguisher, and the three enter but find no trace of anyone at all, except 2 photos of Mimi and Tina and candles extinguished. Mari and Hanya run into the bathroom, so they find the bathtub empty but full of blood. Mari gets very nervous and freezes in her place, but wakes up to Choi's voice, and they run out, finding Han putting the knife on Choi's neck and mocking them. When Hanya mentions Mimi, he loses his temper and tells them, "No one mentions my beloved." We go back to the day of the crime when Hook dropped Mimi to her apartment and left her crying. Amidst her breakdown, Mimi hears the sound of her safety lock and is shocked by Han in front of her, who runs to muffle her voice and lets her know he came only to check on her and that she should not let strange men into her apartment. Mimi gets angry and tells him, well, what are you? You are a strange man too, and how did you enter my apartment and know the code? And gives him the buttons she had found and tells him surely you were the one in it before and took my photo, and surely you are also the one who killed my dog. Han tries to calm her down, but no use, and she lets him know she did not inform the police, not because she loves him, no, it is so his mother stops raising the rent on her, but now she must inform the police because the matter went out of control. Of course, Han is sick with non-rejection and refused to believe her words, but she did not stay silent and held the phone and tried to call the police, but he hit her on her head with the iron bar. Mimi wakes up in the bathtub and finds Han next to her, and he lets her know he was subjected to violence from his mother all the time, and every time he did not know how to do something, she would lock him naked in the balcony until she destroyed him, and he thought Mimi loved him and was the first one to care about him, truly, but now he will not trust anyone else again and gets up to kill her with the decoration ribbon. We return to the present, and Mari is losing her temper and telling him he is just an imitation of the real killer, because the real killer should be over 50 years old now. So Han provokes her and says, no, even if I know, I will not tell you who the original ribbon man is. At this time, Hanya tries to get something out of the bag Choi made her wear before they entered the apartment. Choi exploits that Mari is with her and hits him in his legs, and Hanya takes out a spray from the bag and they spray it on his face, and a series of beating begins. And a little, they overpower him, and a little, he overpowers them. We see in the bathroom with Mari while he chokes her with the same ribbon that was choking her all her life, but suddenly he hears Hanya screaming, so he runs out quickly and we see them tied up. Hanya tells her she cannot feel her hands nor her feet and that she is still young. How can a woman of 60 years get a stroke while in her youth like this? They stay like this until Mari gets the toilet lid and hits him on his head and runs out. Choi exploits this situation and takes a piece of the broken glass and unties the rope. Han with 7 lives keeps running after them and they cannot handle him at all. Even Choi, the superwoman, cannot handle him. Mari sees a lot of water on the kitchen floor, so she realizes he hid Tina in the kitchen cupboard, and indeed she gets her out, but she is breathless. At that time comes to attack Mari, but before, he kills her with the knife. Choi hits him with the extinguisher, and finally he loses consciousness and she runs to tie him up along with Hanya. Mari manages to wake Tina, who had fainted. At that time, the police arrive late as usual because Choi's husband refuses to listen to her words. Mari notices that Han is smiling at someone while entering the car, and she sits looking for him. At that time, she is surprised by her doctor in front of her, who excuses himself, saying he was close by, but when he heard the police sound, he said, let's see what is happening. We find someone passing by the doctor, and they both smile at each other, while Han's eyes are on the doctor. We learn he was his doctor too, and he used to tell him everything. And one day, a package arrived for Han containing the Ribbon Man's diary and the killing method and everything he could do. The Ribbon Man lets him know that dying as a hunter is better than dying as a prey, and whoever does not submit to you nicely submits to you by force. We see him targeting his first prey, who was a girl working in a cafe, and he decided to kill her because she served him a wrong order. This is the first case appearing after 10 years from the last ribbon killing case. From here, Han decided that any woman who opposes him will be his victim. This makes us go back 10 years when we see Sarah and he throws her in an abandoned room in the hospital. She wakes up finding no one around her, so she takes scissors out of her pocket. Yes, the scissors Mari told the police about. As soon as the killer enters with the red ribbon in his hands, which they bought together from his look, Sarah understands what he intends to do. As soon as he approaches her, she shows the scissors in her hands and runs, but there is no use at all. He drags her behind him and wraps the gift ribbon around her neck while she keeps screaming Mari's name. We return to the present time and Mari wakes up from a nightmare screaming Sarah's name. We see her in the hospital with Choi asking her who Sarah is, but at that time Mari gets lost and asks her about Tina's condition, whom we see with her son in his room, and her condition has improved a lot. While she is leaving, she meets Hanya, who is very upset with her for hiding from them that she has a child, and hugs her and lets her know she is the same age as her daughter who died, and she considers her like her daughter, and it is not right for a daughter to hide something from her mother, and they both cry. Afterwards, the four gather in the room and keep joking and comforting Tina, but suddenly a message comes to Mari, letting her know that the salary has not been deposited yet, and the bank is demanding the installment, and she does not understand anything, so she is forced to return from the hospital and calls the gym. They let her know that her husband left work a month ago because he decided to open a cafe, so she remembers when she found a cafe receipt with him once, and there was a drink he does not like, and it was the reason she suspected he was cheating on her. When she reaches the apartment, she does not find him and does not find the apartment contract either, so she runs to the cafe but arrives late and he has already signed the contract. Mari keeps fighting with him because he does not take her opinion on anything and fights with him more when she learns he cannot cancel the contract, and goes crazy even more when she learns he bought it from his ex-girlfriend and that they met at the gym and he has been training with her for a month. It burns her up more when he tells her he found himself in the cafe field. The shop owner leaves them and goes out so they can talk comfortably. When she goes out, she calls someone and lets him know what happened. Mari leaves while very angry, especially when her husband gave her a file paper and she thought it was her divorce paper. But when she returns to the hospital and comes to open the file, she finds it, a report of his health condition, which deteriorated due to the steroids he was taking to maintain his physical fitness and continue in the gym job. Mari breaks down because he was suffering and going through all this alone without letting her know. But she wakes up from her shock when she finds the news playing and Han's photo being arrested, so she tries to focus on the screen to know who Han was smiling at and saw the suspicious man who smiled also at the manager. A man appears behind her in the hospital, and as soon as he sees the news, he also gets angry that he appeared and takes off and leaves. Mari goes quickly to the police station and asks Choi's husband to meet Han urgently because she needs to know from him who the Ribbon Man is and decides to tell them about everything. She says that in the year 2003, she was in high school and there was a courage challenge for her and her friend Sarah, and they decided to go photograph an abandoned psychiatric hospital for a while. Sarah was very afraid and asked Mari to sing until each one takes the required photos, and they separated. Sarah went up to the second floor and Mari kept singing, but suddenly she hears Sarah's voice screaming, so she runs quickly. At that time, she finds one of her shoes thrown on the ground in front of room 2, so she opens the door slowly, finding a man standing in the dark, tying Sarah up and saying to her, "If you want your friend to stay alive, do not take another step. Go and I will leave her alive." Mari tells the investigators that since then she cannot get rid of the feeling that she is the one who killed her friend and that she betrayed her. But if time went back again, she would enter and bite him and hit him even. If she dies, but at least she would have done her part. She lets them know about the man Han smiled at, so Jack decides to allow her to enter, to see him, but suddenly his phone rings and makes them run out terrified. This takes us back in time half an hour when Han asked the policeman to enter the bathroom and kept telling him, "You are violating human rights to make me enter with handcuffs." And indeed, the policeman undid the handcuffs. When Han entered the bathroom, he wrote something on the back of the door and then took off the shoelace and killed himself just as he kills his victims, but this time with a black lace. Mari returns to the hospital devastated, and Choi's husband informs her of everything. As much as they are upset with her for hiding such a heavy thing from them and carrying it alone, they still pity her. At the same time, she receives a call from her neighbor in the building. She is a very nice woman whom Mari always visited, and it turns out she is the mother of her teacher who died and Sarah's mother's friend. She lets her know that her friend Ran called her and was surprised that Mari is Sarah's friend, and at the same time living in the apartment Sarah's mother lived in before committing suicide. Mari starts linking the events and feels stupid and capable of solving all difficult cases, but she cannot solve her own case and falls to the ground in a breakdown. At the same time, we see Hook writing the same line Han wrote on the bathroom door and ends it with a sentence that the time has come for the real hunter to appear. The next day, we see Mari has finally managed to reach Sarah's and her mother's grave with this nice woman and sits saying that she will take their rights. Her neighbor gives her a box with Sarah's mother's things and tells her she surely would have loved to give it to her. When Mari goes, she sits reading her diary and finds Sarah's mother apologizing to her in the diary and saying she should not have gotten angry at her because she is just a child and nothing was in her hands. She tells about her life and her feelings and the neighbors helping her overcome her crisis. But suddenly, she sees a torn page and gathers some words, like that from what was engraved on the paper behind it. When Mari comes to get up, the sewing box falls from her and she discovers a card for a detective agency and with it, a paper with her name. So she decides the next day to go immediately to this office. The man gets sad when he learns that Sarah's mother died, but gets surprised because she had paid him money to look for Mari because she intended to meet her within 2 weeks before committing suicide. Yes, I mean, how does someone intend to meet someone else and suddenly decides no to commit suicide? He lets her know she asked him for other information, but asked her for a very large sum in exchange. So she decides to go to Hook when she learns he is obsessed with the Ribbon Man and that they cooperate together to bring down this Ribbon Man because from Hook's point of view, the biggest mistake the Ribbon Man committed is leaving her alive, and surely now that he has appeared, again, he will try to kill her. Mari decides to gather more information and meets her neighbor and understands from her that Sarah's mother, when she committed suicide a week prior, looked very strange and told her there's someone she wants to kill. Her neighbor deduced surely Hinifrano was talking about the Ribbon Man. When she lets her friend know, Choi gets very angry because her husband was the one in charge of the investigation at that time. Afterwards, she gets up to leave while very angry, but we see her a few hours later at the police station with lots of food for her husband and his friends. Gunn understands she surely wants something from him, so she tells him that Mari suspects Sarah's mother was killed, not committed suicide. She keeps playing psychological games on him until he opens the case file again and says to himself, these women are more dangerous than cigarettes to a man. Oh boy. But what shocks him more is finding evidence he was oblivious to before. At this time, Hanya calls Mari and lets her know that when she reviewed old records, she remembered that Sarah's mother had ordered a large quantity of persimmons from her to receive on February 25th, meaning 5 days after she committed suicide, and she was saying she would give them to someone dear to her whom she has not seen for a long time. Mari breaks down because Sarah's mother still remembered that Mari loves persimmons and surely ordered them for her. This makes doubt control Mari and Hanya more. At this time, Hook calls the detective agency and has gathered all information about its owner, and keeps blackmailing him until he takes all the information he wants from him. Choi has arrived at Mari's and lets her know that her husband analyzed the will paper for them. Mari understands that what Sarah's mother wrote was just venting her heart, because she went back to write many things afterwards, and lets her know that she had ordered a small recorder from Tina a day before she died, and lets her know that she ordered persimmons from Hanya too, and tells her surely the one who killed her is the one who tore this page to make it look like a will. An hour later, Mari is alone at home and hears the bell sound. When she goes out, she sees a yellow file in front of the door. When she opens it, she breaks down when she learns that the criminal is the building guard who lived first next to the river where they found Sarah's corpse. She starts linking events as usual, but very late. Kim is standing on the roof, seeing Mari nervous and is enjoying it very much. She remembers when Han tried a while ago to commit suicide, but he saved him and started playing in his head, so Han would turn later into the new ribbon killer, so Kim would emerge. In the present, Hook has decided to go down to the basement because he suspects something in it. When he arrives, he sees a safe containing a black glove and a ring like Sarah's and Mari's ring. He gets shocked more when he sees an embroidered handkerchief, which he knows very well, and keeps asking himself what brought this here. At the same moment, Kim enters and says he is not here for the novel and he is here to search behind the ribbon owner to take revenge for Sarah's mother, and asks him to confess what his relationship with her is. He learns that at first his only goal was writing the novel, and everything started when he was at his house once and read his writings about the Ribbon Man. Since then, he started always gathering any information about him and attending his victims' sessions. Once when he was there, he saw Sarah's mother very devastated, so he gave her the handkerchief with the flower embroidery on it. From here, his relationship with her became good, and he started considering her a replacement for his mother, who died of cancer when he was young, and she considered him a son to her instead of Sarah, whom the Ribbon Man killed. Once she showed him the scissors and the flower ring and told him the details, but he remembered seeing them in the teacher's writings a long time ago and discovered they were not just writings, but the killer's diary itself. He learns that Sarah's mother, a day before she died, asked him that if anything happened to her, he should come and take her, right, because she felt her daughter's killer is very close to her. After a period of her disappearance, he decided to go to her apartment to make sure she died, and she had left him a bank account with a lot of money and left him a letter too. Hook is breaking down, crying until he is shocked. His teacher Kim, working as a guard in the same building, so he understands everything and decides to take revenge for her and lets him know that he started his plan to hunt the hunter. But Kim, the old man, suddenly shows power, health, and muscles and manages to choke Hook very easily and lets him know that the warehouse has no ventilation and this is his last day and he can give our regards to Sarah and her mother when he meets them, and leaves him thrown on the ground and next to him a lighter, giving off a lot of smoke, and leaves. The next day, Mari receives a package, and when she opens it, she finds Sarah's ring, which she was wearing when she died. At the same time, she receives a phone call from a strange number asking her if she liked the gift and tells her he still has many other gifts and lets her hear her daughter's voice. This takes us back to the next day after Han was caught and his mother wrote about Mari that she is a murderer. Kim at that time heard her daughter talking to her friends about a courage contest and that there is a very large sum of money for the best one to photograph the scariest place in Korea, and she wants the money to help her father. Here, Kim decides to start his plan. We return again to the present. On the same day, 7 hours earlier, when Kim met Riri after school to take her to the abandoned place, but without her telling anyone, so he doesn't get hurt in his job. Mari is very devastated and runs out with the car, and Kim lets her know that in the same place where they started everything, they must end everything. But because Mari grew up, we see her coming 4 hours earlier, still planning how to bring down the hunter before he hunts them, and letting her friends know that Kim is the killer and informing them also of all the evidence. Hanya confirms this matter because the first one to discover the corpse was Kim, and on the same day he had invited his friends for a large amount of food, but did not sit with them, with the excuse that he had work behind him, and thus he had time and space to execute his crime without anyone suspecting him because he is the building guard, so Mari goes looking for him, but learns from a colleague that he resigned today and left without saying goodbye to them, besides that Kim is also missing. At this same time, Tina arrives and lets Mari know that the nurse brought a toy for her son, and it was stuffed with a recorder that works by pressing on it, so it could be that the recorder Sarah's mother recorded on is hidden in the teddy bear Sarah's mother made for him. Indeed, as soon as Mari opens it, the recorder pops out, which Tina recognizes as soon as she sees it. But suddenly, a phone call comes to Tina from the hospital, letting her know that a donor was found for her son to perform the last surgery, so she rejoices very much, and Mari asks her to go quickly to her son, and she will finish everything alone. The recording starts playing, so we go back. This is best cut to the time Sarah's mother died while talking to Kim, and letting him know she has strong evidence condemning him, which is her daughter's scissors present in his apartment, and she learns that Kim was suffering a while before that, and Sarah decided to help him because he is always nice to her, but when she was arranging arranging the apartment for him, she found the scissors, so she decided not to suspect him because there are many scissors very similar to it. But what increased her suspicion is when she found many letters that were coming to her from the victims' families association, and he had taken them. Kim wakes up suddenly and she pretends she was already leaving, but he understands everything and decides she must die too, and goes to her and muffles her breath with the handkerchief Hook gave her the first day they met. All this while she put the recording in the teddy bear next to her daughter's photo, and Kim keeps talking and confessing on himself. He gets up and takes the diary and tears out the page where she wrote she wants to go to her daughter and puts it in front of her photo to make it look like she committed suicide, and sees the other ring, so decides to take it too. After he finishes arranging the crime scene, he carries Sarah's mother and throws her from the balcony. In the present time, we see Mari on the road devastated from crying and driving as fast as she can to save her daughter before she dies. Tina finished her son's operation well and went to Hanya and Choi, who are shocked by all this new news and are shocked more that Mari and her daughter are missing, and also Kim and Hook. When Choi calls her daughter to ask her about Riri, she lets her know she was entering a courage contest and will go photograph in an abandoned psychiatric hospital. So Hanya screams and says this is the same place Sarah was killed in, so they decide to move without delay. At the same time, Mari arrives at the hospital, and when she enters, Kim comes out to her and keeps bargaining with her for the recording she has in exchange for her daughter's life. But when he takes the recording and makes sure it is, he breaks it and keeps playing psychological games on Mari and telling her she is the one who killed her friend when she escaped to the other side. We see Tina handing the recording to the police and running out to go, she and Tina and Choi, to Mari because they will not leave their friend alone, ever. While Kim is torturing Mari psychologically and physically and starting his chase game with her and letting her know that the more the victim resisted him, the more he enjoyed it more. He manages in the end to trap her in the operating room and says it is an excellent place for a murder operation and closes the door on her and starts preparing to choke her. But at that time, Choi, Hanya, and Tina arrive and keep screaming too. Know Mari's location, who as soon as she hears them screams too. They reach the place, but the door is locked, so Choi tries to break the door. And as soon as they enter, Kim is choking Mari and is about to finish her off, so they try to appeal to him, but he lets them know with utmost calmness that no one will leave here alive except him, only because he deserves to live the rest of his life in peace. They keep distracting him with talk until Mari knows how to free herself from him, and they descend grinding on him, but nothing works on him, and he gets up to set fire to the whole hospital. And we learn he had prepared everything and emptied gasoline everywhere since. Gasoline is free now. Gunn arrives, he and his assistant, and decides to enter because his wife and her friends are inside, and asks the assistant to hurry. The rescue team. Jack and Dan arrive, and Dan appears very devastated, and Jack decides he will not leave his wife. Go through all this alone again, and he enters the fire not caring. Inside the hospital, we see Mari standing in front of the same situation where everything started, and she hears her daughter's voice screaming, so she tries every way to open the door, but to no avail, and the fire keeps increasing and explosions start happening in separate places in the hospital, so she asks her friends to leave while she saves her daughter, but they refuse. The madman who does not die comes out to them and keeps hitting them one after another, but Hook appears suddenly and helps them and pins Kim down and chokes him, saying, "What do you think, while your students do to you what you did to them?" He tells them what happened to him and that the other guard saved him at the last moment. When he woke up, he saw the tracking device he had installed in the car, and when the guard asked him to go to the hospital to check on himself, he looked at the phone and told him, "I am actually going to the hospital." Hook keeps pinning Kim down until they find the room key with him, but the room turns out to be empty, containing nothing but a phone with a recorded video, so Hook deduces that he surely locked her in the basement. Mari goes down to look for her daughter, and the others try to tie Kim up, but the four of them cannot handle him, and he throws them all on the ground and takes out the knife because it is time to finish off his prey, but Gunn intervenes at the last moment and shoots him in the back. So Kim falls to the ground, very sad that he did not finish his game as he wanted. We see Dan running in with a fire extinguisher, and behind him an ambulance. Man yelling at him because he stole the extinguisher from him. At the same time, Mari is going crazy in front of the basement because no key works to open the door. Upon Jack's arrival, who brings a brick and keeps hitting the lock until it breaks, and they manage to save Riri, but a severe explosion meets them, blocking their way. At this moment, Choi and the others have exited the hospital and are very worried about Mari, but they finally breathe when they see the firemen coming out with the three alive. So the Ribbon Killer file is finally closed forever, and he dies in the same place where everything started 20 years ago. After the procedures finish and they all recover from the beating they took, Mari goes with Hook and her friends to Sarah's and her mother's grave, and Mari lets them know that she finally avenged them, and Hook greets Sarah's mother and tells her that he finally became a dutiful son to her. They all cry, and the audience and director cry, and Mari finally decides to open an investigation office and opens it in her husband's cafe, so it is an office and cafe at the same time called Home Salon. Choi and Hanya work with her, and Tina, and also Hook, who finally finished his novel, and business flourishes with them very much. The suspicious doctor Mari used to go to, who turned out to be the same Dr. Han used to go to, issue, it was discovered that he was part of a big gang using narcotic drugs instead of depression drugs to kill his victims. We see him while he opens a photo album full of photos of Mari, and we understand that the saying, "the sad one came to rejoice but found no place," applies to her. However, because our girl is very smart, we see she had actually gathered her friends in the cafe to discuss with them the case of women dying recently whom they find drugged. Suddenly, a woman enters wearing all black and looking very chic, and we learn she is the crazy woman who appeared at the beginning of the series and wanted to kill her husband. She lets them know she got out for good conduct and now has a lot of money thanks to them and would like to join them and participate with her money and effort. From here, Hook says in his new novel that you might think you are a hunter, but it is not far-fetched at all, that the same prey you are trying to hunt is also trying to hunt you. Just like that, our series ends. Goodbye.